Alright, I know what you're thinking. Why in the world is the X4 in the Hillbilly Garage when we just started working on Wounded Warrior and Project Zippy? Well, there is quite a story behind why the X4 is now in the Hillbilly Garage. And it all starts with what I thought was going to be a nice, leisurely day of riding. So my friend Sarah, who you've seen now and again on Appalachian Mountain Riders, and her fiance Josh was up this summer. They purchased a Wildcat Sport. We've been trying to get together and ride a time or two, and just it never worked out. So they were finally able to get up and to ride, and I thought, well, I need to get some good, just normal trail riding testing done with Mighty Mouse and the Turbo. So we thought we'd make a day of it, do a little test riding, and just enjoy this fairly warm winter day. So one thing that I want to make sure did not happen with Mighty Mouse with the Turbo P5 is that I lost its regular trail ability. I still want to be able to hit the slow trails, the more technical trails, without the Turbo compromising any of its ability to do so. So that's why we were hitting these slower stuff here at first, and I must say the Turbo is doing very, very well. Little bit of complications, a few bugs to work out here. We did experience some overheating issues with the slower stuff. You guys saw my install, you know how close my air intake into the engine rides next to the exhaust. So I think I'm superheating the air that's going in, and that's causing problems. So an intercooler is probably definitely going to be in the future to solve that. We may have to bump up the radiator size as well to get some more coolant running through the motor. But hey, first Turbo P5 in the world. We got some things to figure out, some bugs to work out, but so far I am very, very, very pleased with the performance. It is enough that you can feel it by the seat of your pants. As soon as that turbo hits 5 PSI, from 5 to 7, I can feel the bump in power compared to how it used to be. And that is very, very promising and has me very, very excited. So Mighty Mouse was running good. There is definitely a significant bump in power when that turbo spools up. She seems to be happy with it. I did run into a couple issues. She is overheating, which can be expected. I'm probably going to have to address that by adding some heat shielding. And it's looking like I'm going to have to run an intercooler. I was kind of figuring that in the first place. Like I said, I thought we'd do some testing and see if we could get away without an intercooler. But we're going to need an intercooler because she's overheating. So because of that, I parked the Mighty Mouse for time being, but we still had plenty of day left to ride. So I hopped in the old X4 and started off with a little bit of drag racing. Now, full disclosure here, guys, Josh was in park revving his motor for cool factor when Sarah dropped her arm, so that's why it seemed like the Wolverine won by a mile. You'll see the rest of the races here, it was a lot closer. So after dominating the drag race and stomping the other cat by just a hair, we went on and did some more riding, went down to the old railroad tracks. And of course, as things tend to go when you're riding with friends, we came across the old mud hole that Mighty Mouse has struggled with in the past. And I thought, well, what better way to test out these new Carnivore tires than to see if I can't go through it. So as you guys can see here, this hole is not real deep right now, but the trouble lies in the fact that as I'm breaking these pieces of ice, I am now driving on the ice, and that is not giving me traction, and also the big chunks of ice are getting hung up underneath and kind of saddlebagging me. So if it was not for that ice, I think we would have made it through it all right. Well, you'll see what happens. It wouldn't have mattered whether the ice was there or not, but still. If only it had been water in my CVT. That would have been nice. Yeah, I hope I didn't suck in water. Go forward just a bit more. I'm going to use your bumper. Good. acting almost like I sucked in water. That wasn't the belt, that puffed out smoke, didn't it? That's not good.
It smells really rich, so I'm wondering if you just got filled or
See what, give her a little pull, see what she does. Yeah.
First, real touchy.
I'm gonna have to get lower. So he was able to get the X4 winched out. However, you will see here that Sarah and Josh's Arctic Cat did not have enough weight to pull it up the hills. So every hill we came to, we had to actually winch up, which caused problems because my winch would only spool out and not in, so I actually had to reverse the wire, so out was in and in was out. And then on the way home, the battery died. So after a pretty big fiasco of trying to get the X4 just winched up back to the railroad grade so that we could then tow it home, I think I fried my winch, and of course she ingested water through that stupid little drain plug Yamaha's got to put in the intake tube with that cheap little plug and clip that falls off. Now I did do the recommended upgrade of replacing that little tiny weak clip with an actual hose clamp, a stainless hose clamp, so she'd grip tight. Apparently it wasn't tight enough because at some point in our ride it fell off, and thus the water got in and got into the motor. So that is why the X4 is in here, because I got my work cut out for me. We're going to drain the oil, clean her up, see if she still has life in her. Hopefully she'll still run. It still turns over. She's not hydro locked, so I don't think I got that awful much in there, but we'll find out. I'll pull the spark plugs, see how dirty they are. That's a good indication of how much actually got into the motor, and we'll just have to go from there. I guess we either get it running and we're back up in business, or we don't get it running and it's time to upgrade to an RMAX 1004. Either way, as I end all my videos, and you guys know my motto, we're just going to keep on riding and do what we can do. No sense in getting mad, no sense in getting depressed. It's only a material possession. It can be replaced. We'll see what we can do. So thus is the story and is the history of why the X4 is now in here. So over the next video or two, we'll be tearing into this guy and seeing what exactly the damage has been and determining whether or not I need to call my insurance. Which works out because we're waiting on parts for these two guys right now anyway, so we've got time to kill. Although I would have much rather killed the time in a much better way. Anyway, I said in the last video we were starting 2021 with a bang, and we are literally starting it with a bang. I mean, did you see the puff of smoke that flew out of this guy when she shut off the last time? Water in my CVT! Anyway guys, especially right now, I appreciate you watching and your support. I'm not one to do this very often, but you can get your Appalachian Riders merchandise on my Teespring store by clicking in my link in the description below, and all the profit from that goes right back into the channel, and I'm going to be needing some of that to buy some parts. You can support me on Patreon, and check out all the bonus content I upload there, and just stopping by and watching my videos is a great way to support too. So thanks for watching, sharing the burden of the drowned X4 with me, and until next time, keep on riding.